The military coup in Niger threw the U.S. military out. But why isn't Niger regretting its decision as the U.S. predicted? The U.S. said its military presence was all about counterterrorism. If that was the case, why did Niger want to break free from the U.S.'s military presence? The reality was quite the opposite. All the U.S. did was exploit and make it appear an effort to end terrorism, with a few instances of actually helping. So, after Niger was thrown the U.S. out, is there any chance for the U.S. to enter again? Let's find out. The recent military coup in Niger has triggered a cascade of strategic decisions by the United States, compelling a substantial reduction of over 40% in deployed military personnel. This shift in approach reflects the complexities and challenges faced by the U.S. government in navigating the aftermath of political turmoil in the region. The military coup in Niger, which unfolded in recent weeks, has not only shaken the political landscape of the country, but also had a ripple effect on international relations. The United States, long engaged in counterterrorism efforts in the region, now finds itself reassessing its military presence and role in the wake of the coup. In response to the coup, the United States has made drastic decisions regarding its military engagement in Niger. A key outcome of this reassessment is a significant reduction of over 40% in deployed military personnel. But did the U.S. remove its military on its own, or did Niger force them? The reduction in deployed military personnel signals a broader strategic reassessment by the United States. The government is reevaluating its objectives, priorities, and the overall effectiveness of its military presence in Niger. Such shifts require careful consideration of geopolitical implications, regional stability, and the ongoing fight against terrorism. Navigating the aftermath of a military coup presents numerous challenges for the United States. Balancing the pursuit of national interests with a commitment to democratic values is a delicate task. Additionally, the U.S. government must consider the potential impact of its decisions on regional stability, human rights, and the fight against extremist groups operating in the region. Niger has been a crucial partner in the U.S. fight against terrorism, particularly in countering extremist groups such as Boko Haram and ISIS-affiliated factions. The reduction in deployed military personnel raises questions about the continuity and effectiveness of these counterterrorism efforts. Striking a balance between security concerns and democratic principles becomes paramount in shaping the way forward. But does Niger regret its decision? Will it welcome the U.S. again? In the aftermath of the military coup in Niger and the subsequent reduction of over 40% in deployed U.S. military personnel, a notable narrative emerges. While Western voices express concerns that Niger may regret distancing itself from the United States, the nation remains steadfastly proud of its decision. This apparent divergence in perspectives highlights the complexities of diplomatic relations and the intrinsic value that Niger places on its autonomy. From the Western perspective, the decision by Niger to reduce the U.S. military presence raises alarms. The West, particularly the United States, has long been an ally in Niger's fight against terrorism and regional stability. The concerns emanate from the fear that a diminished partnership could compromise the progress made in counterterrorism efforts and disrupt the delicate balance of power in the region. Contrary to Western apprehensions, Niger stands proud of its decision to reduce the U.S. military footprint. The move is seen as asserting national sovereignty and a step towards shaping its destiny. The sentiment resonates with a growing inclination among Nigerian leaders and citizens to take charge of their political and security affairs without excessive external influence. Niger's decision reflects a desire for greater autonomy in shaping its foreign policy and national security strategies. The nation's leaders argue that reducing dependency on foreign military presence aligns with their vision of an independent and self-determined future. The perceived benefits of this autonomy include the ability to address internal challenges that align more closely with Nigeria's national interests. National pride plays a pivotal role in Niger's response to Western concerns. The decision to assert independence from foreign military influence is not merely a pragmatic choice, but also a reflection of the country's cultural identity and pride. Nigerians view their resilience and capacity to make decisions for their future as essential elements of their national character. Niger's proud stance has broader implications for regional dynamics. As the country asserts its autonomy, it signals to other nations in the region about the importance of charting an independent course. The ripple effect could reshape power dynamics and influence the balance of alliances, fostering a renewed emphasis on regional cooperation that is not solely dependent on external military support. Did the U.S. have any other option than to leave, considering how strongly Niger stood against the U.S.'s military? The recent military coup in Niger has forced the United States to make a difficult decision in adherence to its principles. Citing rules that prohibit partnerships with military juntas, the U.S. found itself compelled to sever its collaboration with Niger on counterterrorism efforts. This rupture has significant consequences, affecting a security assistance relationship that has spanned a decade. In compliance with its regulations, the United States has consistently upheld a policy prohibiting partnerships with military juntas. This commitment is rooted in the American government's dedication to democratic values and opposition to any form of government that comes to power through force rather than democratic processes. The rules, in this case, left the U.S. with no alternative but to discontinue its collaboration with Niger following the military coup. Niger has been a key ally in the U.S. fight against terrorism, particularly in the region plagued by extremist groups. The severance of collaboration on counterterrorism efforts has far-reaching consequences, disrupting a decade-long security assistance relationship. The cessation raises concerns about the continuity and effectiveness of joint operations aimed at countering threats posed by groups like Boko Haram and ISIS affiliates. The decision to sever collaboration is not without diplomatic repercussions. It strains the bilateral relations between the United States and Niger, casting a shadow over the historically cooperative efforts to enhance security and stability in the region. The fracture in the counterterrorism partnership underscores the complexity of balancing strategic interests with adherence to democratic principles. In the face of severe collaboration, multilateral engagement emerges as a potential solution. The United States can explore partnerships with international organizations and other allies to continue addressing the shared challenges of terrorism in the region. A collaborative approach may help mitigate the impact of the severed ties with Niger and sustain efforts to promote stability and security. If the U.S. military presence was really to make peace, what issues did Niger have with the U.S. military? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The presence of the United States military in Niger has undeniably left a significant imprint on the country, with far-reaching implications for both privacy and security. While the U.S. has heavily invested in training Nigerian security forces to combat violent extremism, the militarized approach adopted by the Nigerian government, influenced by donor preferences and funded by external sources, has raised concerns about widespread security service abuses, impunity, and its impact on overall stability. At the heart of the U.S. military presence in Niger lies Air Base 201 in Agadez, a critical hub for drone operations in the region. This strategic location has been pivotal in the fight against extremist groups, serving as a launching pad for surveillance and counterterrorism efforts. However, the concentration of military infrastructure also raises questions about the balance between security measures and the potential infringements on privacy and human rights. The militarized approach to internal security, supported by U.S. investments, has been associated with a troubling trend of security service abuses and impunity in Niger. Reports highlight human rights violations and a lack of accountability within the security forces. This environment of impunity damages the credibility of security institutions and contributes to increased insecurity, eroding the stability that the military aims to achieve. The heavy investments in the security sector have come at a cost to other critical aspects of societal well-being. Funds that could have been allocated to health, education, and essential services have been diverted towards bolstering security forces. This trade-off raises concerns about the long-term consequences for the population, as the neglect of basic services jeopardizes the overall welfare and development of Nigerian communities. While the U.S. military presence is linked to efforts to combat extremist groups, its impact extends to regions like Tillabéri, near the Mali border, where insecurity and conflict persist. The presence of foreign forces has, in certain instances, been associated with challenges such as conflict-related displacement and strained local services. This reality highlights the complexity of addressing security concerns without inadvertently exacerbating other socio-economic challenges. The U.S. is definitely missing having a military presence in Niger, but can it ever regain it? The U.S. military presence in Niger confronts a multitude of challenges and dilemmas, with the recent coup in the country casting a shadow over the ability to maintain a significant military foothold. These challenges, ranging from legal constraints and regional stability concerns to the delicate balance of public opinion, raise uncertainties about the future of the U.S. military presence in Niger. Let's talk about the challenges that stop the U.S. from regaining its military presence in Niger. Public sentiment in Niger stands as a pivotal factor, influencing the U.S. military's approach to counterterrorism in the region. With a notable reluctance towards military intervention, the sentiments of the Nigerian population contribute to the complex decision-making process. The historical impact of the U.S. military's approach, particularly about counterterrorism efforts, further underscores the intricacies involved in navigating these sentiments. The Nigerian population has consistently shown a reluctance towards military intervention. This sentiment reflects a desire for stability without the direct involvement of foreign military forces. The people of Niger, having experienced the challenges associated with conflict-related displacement and strained local services, are cautious about the implications of heightened military activities. The historical approach of the U.S. military to counterterrorism in Niger has left a lasting impact on the local population. Instances of conflict-related displacement and the strain on essential services have shaped perceptions about the consequences of military interventions. As a result, there is a heightened awareness of the potential negative effects on civilian life and infrastructure. The sentiments of the Nigerian population add a layer of complexity to the decision-making process for the U.S. military. Striking a balance between addressing security concerns and respecting the preferences of the local populace requires careful consideration. This complexity is amplified by the historical context, which influences how the U.S. military's actions are perceived within Niger. But why did the U.S. want to have a military presence in Niger in the first place? The establishment of a U.S. military presence in Niger was driven by strategic imperatives rooted in the country's significance within the context of regional security and counterterrorism efforts. This proactive engagement addressed pressing challenges and fostered stability across the Sahel region. Understanding the reasons behind the U.S. desire for military presence provides insights into the broader goals of promoting security, stability, and partnership in Africa. At the core of the decision to establish a military presence in Niger was the imperative to enhance regional security and counteract the growing threat of terrorism. The U.S. military played a vital role in training and equipping the Nigerian armed forces, bolstering their capacity to address internal security challenges and counter the proliferation of weapons and armed fighters. The Sahel region faced increased instability due to the proliferation of weapons and armed groups. Through surveillance and reconnaissance missions, the U.S. military sought to gather crucial intelligence to counteract these threats. Niger's strategic position, sharing borders with Mali, Algeria, Libya, and Nigeria, made it an ideal location for conducting operations that aimed to monitor and address security concerns across the region. Niger's geographic location, situated at the crossroads of Northwest and Central Africa, added to its geopolitical significance. Its borders with multiple nations heightened its importance for U.S. intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operations. Niger served as a strategic hub for gathering information and monitoring activities that could impact regional stability. The U.S. military's presence in Niger was not isolated, but part of a comprehensive strategy to contribute to a safe, stable, secure, and prosperous Africa. By working closely with Niger as a crucial partner, the United States aimed to address regional security challenges collectively and deter and defeat violent extremist organizations that posed threats to stability. the establishment of a military presence underscored the commitment to building a partnership with Niger. Collaborative efforts to enhance security and stability reflected a mutual interest in addressing common challenges. The U.S. military engagement sought to empower Niger as a key player in regional security, fostering resilience and cooperation. But was there no other way to fight against terrorism without involving Niger's security matters? In light of the Nigerian population's reluctance towards direct military intervention, the U.S. military is faced with the imperative to adapt its strategies for counterterrorism. Acknowledging the importance of aligning with local sentiments, the exploration of alternative approaches, and a concerted effort to build trust and collaboration emerge as key components in reshaping the U.S. military's role in Niger. The reluctance towards direct military intervention in Niger necessitates a recalibration of counterterrorism strategies. Recognizing this, there is a growing need to explore alternative avenues that resonate with the aspirations of the Nigerian population. Diplomatic initiatives and development-focused strategies present viable alternatives that prioritize stability and improved local conditions, mitigating the disruptions associated with a heavy military presence. Prioritizing diplomatic channels allows the U.S. to engage with Niger and other regional stakeholders collaboratively. By fostering dialogue and cooperation, diplomatic efforts can contribute to addressing the root causes of extremism and building a more comprehensive and sustainable approach to security. Redirecting efforts towards development-focused strategies involves investing in initiatives that directly benefit local communities. This can include infrastructure projects, education programs, and economic development, aligning with the aspirations of the Nigerian population for improved living conditions and stability. Recognizing the importance of trust building, the U.S. military must prioritize transparency and community engagement. Overcoming skepticism necessitates understanding local needs and concerns. Actively involving the community in decision-making becomes paramount in fostering a positive perception of the military's role in enhancing security. Open communication about military activities, objectives, and the broader strategy enhances transparency. This approach helps dispel misconceptions and builds confidence among the Nigerian population, demonstrating a commitment to honesty and clarity. Actively involving local communities in decision-making empowers them to have a voice in shaping security initiatives. This collaborative approach not only strengthens the legitimacy of the U.S. military's presence, but also allows for a more nuanced understanding of the unique challenges and opportunities within the region. Identifying and addressing specific needs of the community, whether related to healthcare, education, or infrastructure, reinforces the military's commitment to the population's well-being. This targeted approach builds goodwill and establishes a foundation for collaboration. But should anything be done without Niger's people's consent? The dynamics of U.S. military presence in Niger are intertwined with the crucial element of local consent. The current sentiment among the locals reflects weariness towards perceived exploitation, leading to a reluctance to allow the U.S. military to operate within the country. Respect for this sentiment becomes imperative, emphasizing the significance of local approval as a foundational element for any sustainable engagement. The prevailing sentiment among the locals in Niger is one of weariness and reluctance towards the presence of the U.S. military. Exploitation has fostered a sense of distrust and skepticism, leading the local population to resist the idea of allowing the U.S. military to operate within their borders. Understanding and acknowledging this sentiment is critical in reshaping the approach to military engagement. The recognition that nothing substantial can be achieved without local consent underscores the importance of community acceptance of any military presence. The reluctance of the locals to permit the U.S. military's operations necessitates a fundamental shift in strategy, placing local approval at the forefront of considerations. The weariness of the locals highlights the need for the U.S. military to respect and validate their perspectives. Acknowledging historical concerns and addressing the root causes of local discontent are essential steps in rebuilding trust. Respecting local perspectives involves genuine efforts to understand the nuances of their experiences and concerns, laying the groundwork for a more collaborative and respectful relationship. Rebuilding trust requires a commitment to transparency. The U.S. military must communicate openly and honestly about its objectives, activities, and intended benefits for the local population. Transparent communication serves as a bridge to overcome skepticism, fostering an environment where local communities feel informed and involved in decision-making. The imperative of local consent underscores the U.S. military's need to reassess its approach, ensuring its presence brings tangible benefits to the local communities, prioritizing initiatives that directly address the needs and aspirations of the locals, such as development projects and community-based programs, establishes a foundation for mutually beneficial engagement. Witnessing such a strong reaction makes people wonder if the U.S. has exploited Niger. The U.S. has been found guilty of exploiting Niger's resources. Niger is home to substantial uranium deposits, making it a focal point for international interest. The allegations of resource exploitation by the U.S. and France, particularly concerning French-owned uranium mines, raise questions about the motivations behind their involvement in Niger's natural resource sector. The history of colonialism and post-colonial relationships often cast a shadow over allegations of resource exploitation. Understanding historical dynamics, including the colonial legacy and economic imbalances, provides a backdrop for evaluating the validity of claims and the impact on Niger's sovereignty. Understanding the motivations behind U.S. involvement is crucial for comprehending the broader picture of resource dynamics in Niger. While allegations of exploitation raise concerns about external interests, it is imperative to analyze the socio-economic impact on Niger. Do you think the U.S. should try to regain its military presence in Africa? If the Niger people are happy with no U.S. military aid, why is the U.S. eager to enter? Did the U.S. want to exploit Niger? Let us know in the comments section. Was breaking free from the U.S.'s influence the right decision for Niger? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Deposit Photos Music. Deposit Photos Music.